Okay.
Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
I welcome you back to the class of finite and non-finite verb. Today we are going to start with the lecture of finite and non-finite verb. Earlier in the previous 6 lectures, we have covered finite verbs. In finite verbs, we have done transitive and intransitive verb with example. Then afterwards, we have done the classification, how verb is divided into finite and non-finite, how finite verb is divided into many transitive, and how non-finite verbs are divided into three further categories, that is infinitive, participle and gerund. We have already discussed infinitives, two infinitive, active and passive, and then bare infinitive with examples. Yesterday in the 2 lectures we have done the definition of participle with examples. Then we have also done the definition of present participle, use of present participle and its examples. We have also done exercises, the possible questions related to infinitives. So these are the things which we have already covered in the previous 6 lectures. Now let's continue with the next topic. Today we will start with the second type of participle, that is past participle. Children, I told you yesterday also that unlike infinitive, infinitive is the base form of the verb, participle is not the base form of the verb. Participle will be the ing form or the third form of the verb. Ing form is already discussed. Present participle is ing form of the verb. Today we are going to discuss past participle. What is a past participle? Past participle is third form of the verb. Third form of the, but it is not used as a verb. It is usually used as an adjective. There are further uses of this past participle, like it can be used as an adjective, it can be used as an adverb, subject complement, it can be used as an object complement, or it can also be used as a phrase. So today we will discuss all these things with examples. I have already written the definition of past participle on the board. Let's have a look at it. Children, past participle. The past participle is the third form of the verb and works like an adjective. I have already told you what is a participle. Participle is also called verbal adjective. So adjective is very important. So far as this thing is concerned, so far as participles are concerned, the word adjective is very important because most of the time we'll see that we use participle as adjective. Past participle. Now these are the uses. There are total 5 uses of past participle. Let's see what are they. Past participle is used as an adjective. So this is the first use. Then second use is subject complement. Third use, it is used as an object complement. Then adverb and phrase. Children, these are the 5 uses of adverb. Sorry, these are the 5 uses of past participle. Third form of the verb. Please keep in mind that it will not be used as verb. Of course, it is the third form of the verb, but tense element is missing. Time is not clear. So it cannot be included in the category of finite verb. It will be included in the category of non-finite verb, and the role will be different. Let's see the examples now. Look at the first example. Rohit is a spoiled child. Rohit is subject, is a finite verb. Spoiled is third form of the verb. So here, what is the role of spoiled? Spoiled is qualifying child. What is child? Child is a noun. Child is a noun. Here, spoiled is telling us something about the child, the quality of child. The child is spoiled. So this is past participle. Here it is used as an adjective. Look at the second example. Sudha Murthy was tired of excuses. Sudha Murthy is the subject. Was is the finite verb. Now, what happened to Sudha Murthy? Now we are discussing something more about subject. We are giving some more information about the subject. So here, tired. Tired is an adjective. It is third form of the verb, but here it is used as an adjective. Sudhamurthy was tired of Hasan's excuses. So past participle. Here it is used as a complement, subject complement. It is telling us something more about the subject. I hope the first two examples are clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's continue with the third example. Third example, I found the room locked. I is subject, found is finite verb, the room is object. What happened to the room? It was locked. I found the room locked. Children, locked is third form of the verb. It is used as a past participle here. What is this word doing? This word is giving us some more information about object. So that is why it is called as object complement. I found the room locked. Here it is object complement. Children, it depends how you use the word in a sentence. If you take this word locked to this position, I found a locked room, then locked will be used as an adjective. Here it is not used as an adjective. Here it is used as an object complement. This is the third use of past participle. First use adjective, second use the subject complement, and third use object complement. Now look at the fourth example. He fell on the ground. The subject fell verb on the ground is complement. How he fell on the ground? Exhausted. He was completely tired. He was completely exhausted. He was not left with any energy. So this exhausted is form of the verb, but here it is used as the past participle. What this word talking about? This word is giving us some more information about the verb. He fell how? Exhausted. So this is an adverb of manner. It tells us the manner. How he felt out? Exhausted. He was very tired. So this is the fourth use that past participle is used as an adverb. Now look at the fifth example. I saw the cat. I is subject, saw is verb, the cat is object. Now, what happened to the cat? It was caught in the net. Cat was caught third of the verb, caught in the net. Now, children, from here, caught in the net. From caught, we don't know when the cat was caught in the net. But one thing is sure that it was inside the net. It was inside the trap. So the cat was caught. I saw the cat caught in the net. Here, caught in the net, it is used as a part of a phrase, or you can say as a phrase. I hope these 5 examples are clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
So children, with this we finish the topic of past participle. We have done 8 verbs. So far we have done 8 verbs: transitive verb, intransitive verb. Then infinitive, to infinitive, active, passive, voice, bare infinitive. Then we have done the definition of participle with examples, present participle with examples, and now today we have done past participle with examples. Only 2 types of verbs are left now: perfect participle and gerund. After perfect participle, we will do some exercises related to participle. 2 possible questions are there, as we did in infinitive. Fill in the blanks with the participle and combine the sentences with participle, with the participle. So these are the 2 possible questions which we will be taking up after we have completed the topic of participle. So let's continue. Today I have got the complete blackboard. Kushpreet, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Kushpreet, can you tell me the difference between present participle and past participle?
Sir, in present.
Yes, Kushpreet. Jaspreet, I can't hear you. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the present participle, sir, that participle is the first form of a verb which is formed by adding ing, sir. But sir, in past participle, third
So
form of the verb is there.
why are you taking lot of time to tell the definition? Just say present participle is ing form of the verb, past
Yes,
participle is
sir.
third form of the verb. That's all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No need to read the full definition. Just have the
Okay, sir.
objective knowledge of the thing.
Okay, sir.
So children, present participle is ing form of the verb, past participle is third form of the verb. Now we are going to start with the third type of participle, that is perfect participle. As the name indicates, the work is complete. Of course, children, if you look at the structure of past perfect participle, it is the combination of present participle and past participle, because we will be using ing form also and we will be using third form also. With ing form, with the third form of the verb, we'll come to know the work is complete. Okay, and with the ing form, we will come to know that something took place and then it was completed. Let's write down the definition of past perfect participle. Shweta, how much time is there?
Sir, 20 minutes are left.
Okay, good. The perfect participle shows an action the perfect participle shows an action or state or activity or activity. Shows action or state or activity that is complete or finished. Children, this is the definition of past participle. Now we are going to discuss the uses of past participle. It is used, it means perfect participle. It is used to express, this is the first use, it is used to express the completion of one action. This is the first use of perfect participle. Children, you will see that in perfect participle, two actions will take place. One action will be complete and one action may or may not be complete, right? But one thing is sure, whenever you express then finite verb will not be used. Of course, we will come to know that work is complete. We will come to know the time. That is the reason. We know that work is complete, but we don't know when the work is complete, whether the work was completed in past, whether the work is completed in present, or whether the work will be completed in future. It will not be. This perfect participle is kept in the category of non-finite. This is the first use. Second, it can also be used. It can also be used to express an implied meaning. Implied meaning which is understood. Implied meaning related to time, concession, cause, or condition. So then 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 4 uses are there. It is used to show the completion of the work. It can also tell us the time. It can also tell us the concession. It can also tell us the condition or cause. Shweta, the board is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
I hope all the lines are visible to you, all the words.
Yes, sir.
Let's see the examples now. Having done my project, having done my project, I began to watch TV. I began to watch TV. Children, look at this sentence. I began to watch TV. Began verb. This is the finite verb. I began to watch TV. It's a simple sentence. Having done my project. Now see, having done my project from this, this is a phrase. From this phrase, the thing is not clear. I mean, the time is not clear when the work was completed. Whether the work was completed in past, present, or future, don't know. But one thing is sure, having done my work, it means after I have completed my work, I began to watch TV. So before watching TV, I work. So it's very clear in this sentence, two actions are taking place. One action that took place in past. This action is not, but we can guess that this action must have taken place before the second action. So first action, if second action is in the past, obviously first action will also be in the past. We can just guess, but nothing is clear from this. That's why having done, this is past participle. Having done is past participle. Children, how it is, it shows the completion of one action. It shows the completion of one action. Second example, having done his lessons, having done his lessons, he went out to play. He went out to play cricket. Children, here also having done his lessons, he went out to play cricket. He went out to play cricket. This is the sentence. Verb, finite verb is there. You can call it clause or you call it sentence. One and the same thing. This is an extra information. This is an extra information related to this sentence. This is also information related to this sentence. So two actions are taking place. two actions are taking place. One action is complete and one action is not complete. If you look at this sentence, I began to watch TV. This is past indefinite tense. He went out to play cricket. This is also past indefinite tense. And these two examples having done again past participle. Here we see it is telling us time. In the first sentence also it is telling us time. In the second sentence also it is telling us time. What is time here? Past time. But we are not sure the exact time. Let's do the third example. Third example, being overpowered. Being overpowered. Being overpowered. He surrendered. Now he surrendered is verb. This is finite verb. He surrendered. He gave up. Why he gave up? Because he was overpowered by somebody else. His enemy was stronger than him. So being overpowered, he surrendered. So being overpowered is being overpowered. Being overpowered is, oh sorry, I am writing past participle here. It is perfect participle. Perfect participle. So this is also perfect participle. Here, what is happening here? What is happening here? Concession. So concession is condition. This is third example. Why he surrendered? Because he was overpowered. Instead of writing he was overpowered, we are writing being overpowered. Fourth example. Having possessed all the advantages of education, he made a name. He made a name. So what is made here? What is made?
A finite verb.
Made is a finite verb. Made is a finite verb. He made a name. What is the meaning of this line? He made a name means he became very popular. And how he became popular? After he got the education. Having possessed all the advantages of education, he took education, he got knowledge, and he made the best use of that knowledge. And after that, he became very popular. Children, one thing you must notice in all these sentences. In all these sentences, we see that the work is complete. Work is perfect. Okay, two actions are there. Second action is taking place after the first action. But the first action is shown with the help of perfect participle. We are not using the tense element here. We are not using the tense element. Of course, we know that first action is taking place before the second action, but that does not mean that it has become a clause. It will remain a phrase only. If you look at first example, second example, third example, fourth example, and fifth example, in all these cases, having possessed all the advantages, being overpowered, having done lessons, in all these sentences, the first part, I mean the part of a sentence which shows the first action, it is used as a phrase. You cannot call it as clause. Is this thing okay to you?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting my point? I am telling you that in all these examples, we are using one sentence only, one clause only, one tense element is there. The remaining part is a phrase. It means all the examples which we have written related to perfect participle, they all are simple sentences. Sentences because only one finite verb is there, only one tense element is there. Of course, we are getting an idea from the first part of a sentence that it is taking place before the second action. We come to know that something happened, after that something else happened, but that does not mean that the finite verb is clear to you. Finite verb is not clear.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
4 minutes are left.
Yes. How much?
4 minutes.
Okay. We'll finish this. So children, having possessed, this is the perfect participle, and in this participle, we are talking about condition. What is the condition? That I have taken all the knowledge. He became popular. He having followed my advice. So this is the condition. What is the condition? That I followed his advice. Having followed his advice, my advice, he gained his target. Gained his target. He gained his verb. This is finite verb. What is the actual sentence? He gained his target. And what is the condition? Having followed my advice. He gained his target after following his advice, after following my advice. So children, in all these sentences, you must have seen one thing, that first action is taking place, then the second action is there. But in first action, we don't know the time. Of course, we can guess that the action took place before the second action, but the tense element is not there. That's why, children, these verbs are included in the category of perfect participle, in the category of non-finite verb. I hope this topic is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Children,
sir.
whatever examples we have done, all these are related to active form, active voice. In the next lecture, we will see how to use perfect participle in passive sentences. How to use perfect participle in a passive way, or how they are active, because here we are talking about the subject. We are talking about subject. In passive form, we will talk about the object. It's a very interesting topic. I mean, how to change it into passive, how to use perfect participle in a passive way. That is very interesting. We will take up these things in the next lecture. So with this, we finish the topic of perfect participle active form. Thank you all of you. This is the end of the class.